Hey everyone, it's another episode of Tax Time with Michelle. Michelle is a tax grievance consultant with Heller and Consultants here on Long Island. And our question of the week is, Michelle, how come my neighbor's taxes are lower than mine if our homes are the same?
Oh, this is a good
That's a great
question. Yes.
question.
So I always get this question. When we're arguing, a tax grievance is about a property's tax assessment and not the tax bill. However, the assessment does impact the tax bill. So I'll get this question a lot. Someone will look and see that their neighbors are paying $9,000 and they're paying $12,000. Why is that? So I could look at this property then and say, well, your taxes are fair. Your assessment is fair. And clearly they'll be upset. Well, my neighbor is paying less and we have the exact same house. Or, the neighbor has a pool and I don't, but that's even worse. Or the neighbor has more, right? Well, what happens is there are a lot of properties that are underassessed. So especially in Suffolk County does not reassess every year. So there's a few different factors that come into play. When arguing a tax assessment, when you submit a grievance, we're arguing for your assessment based on what the current market value of your property is. So as everyone knows, the real estate market is always changing. It goes up and down. And so does a home's ability to have a tax grievance. So the good news is that if the real estate market is lower and there's homes in an area that you notice, maybe your neighbors suddenly sold and they sold it for less than they would have a year ago or 2 years ago, or now all of a sudden your home has a case for a grievance. So we tell everyone file every year. If your neighbor is lower, they could be underassessed. So that's good news for that neighbor. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're overassessed, but you want to check obviously and make sure. So a neighbor's tax bill is not an argument for a reduction. It has to be what your assessment is based on the current market value of the property, or say like market value over the last year. We'll use a timeline of about a year to look at similar home sales, and that's how we'll determine what the assessment should be. So yes, unfortunately,
Sounds like some angry neighbors maybe.
Yeah.
Have you ever, well, we won't get into that question. We'll
Right.
leave it.
You can't report your neighbors because their tax bill is too low.
There we go. That was the question that I didn't want to ask.
Yeah,
That's
right.
funny.
No, so they're not going to raise somebody's taxes because the assessment is too low. So it's important to know also. It's important to check, but unfortunately a neighbor's tax bill is not a valid argument for a reduction. And then also, just as a little side tip, whenever someone is grieving taxes, whether you're using us, another tax grievance company, or if you're trying to do it on your own, you're not arguing the tax bill, you're arguing the tax assessment. So if you go in there and you say, my taxes are too high, well, it's Long Island, of course they're high, everyone's taxes are high, but you just don't want them to be, so you want to argue the assessment, the assessed value of the property, not necessarily the tax bill itself.
Okay, great. So that answers that. That answers why your neighbor's taxes could be lower or higher.
Right.
If they're higher, then don't say anything.
Right.
Okay, great. So we will catch you guys next week for another tax tip of the week. We know we're moving along into the spring and summer markets here. So look forward to another episode of Tax Time with Michelle.
Thanks.
Michelle, how can they reach out to you?
They can reach me on my cell, text, or call on my cell, 516-361-0001. They can email me, michelle@hcgrieve.com, or visit our website, hellertaxgrievance.com.
Okay, great.
Awesome.